Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday night's episode of Fools Rush In. On what has been a strange day for the nation, we hope to welcome you back into that sense of normality. And we have had a great weekend, both the men's team and women's team winning. Plenty to discuss. And one of the listeners and viewers have sent us in a little game to end on that none of the panelists have had time to prepare on. So I'm very much looking forward to it. But before we say hello to the panel, which includes tonight a debutante, let's do this properly with our theme tune.
Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you.
And let's begin by saying hello to tonight's panel, starting with BTB. Good evening, Ben.
Evening, Fifey. I'm very well. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for asking. Have you enjoyed the bank holiday? If enjoy is the right turn of phrase.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a somber one, bit of an emotional one this morning at the in-laws' house watching the funeral. But yeah, historic events. It was good to see. But yeah, it's been a good day.
No, it certainly has. Let's next welcome in young Nick. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good, Fifey. Like Ben, it's been a bit of a strange day. Like he says, it's a bit emotional, and watching us do what we do best as a country. Absolutely fantastic. In those lads carrying the coffin, I thought they were just brilliant.
Absolutely the pressure.
Brilliant. Yeah, it must have been immense on them. So fair play. They did us proud.
No, absolutely. We are very good as a nation at pomp and circumstance. That is for sure. Next up, let's say hello and good evening to Woody.
Good evening. How are we?
Very well, thank you, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, sir. Matching the sentiments of the other guys. Although try not to be too downhearted about it and treat it as a celebration of Her Majesty's life. It was a beautiful service and arguably left me in quite good spirits of the brilliant things that we can do in this country.
No, absolutely. Next up, let's with all due respect to you gentlemen, let's bring the average age down a little bit by saying good evening to Rich.
Evening, guys. How are we?
I am good. The other guys seem to be well. How are you, though?
Yeah, unlike Woody, the sun's not really in my eyes, but so I don't need a cap on. But it's all good with me.
It's
all
cold in his house though because he needs a hoodie on.
Oh dear.
Next up, let's say hello to young Ned. How are you, buddy?
Hey, good, thanks. Good, thanks. Oh, I have to say, the nerviest job had to be the person who was accepting the scepter and then taking it up the stairs. I was feeling incredibly nervous the entire time, and the crown was, oh my god, that'll be an expensive accident.
And before we welcome tonight's debutant, just to see what's going on in Twitter, just again say hello to everyone in the crowd watching YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Again, just a reminder, if you are watching on Twitter, we will not be able to see your comments and we will not be able to bring them up live. That only works for whatever reason on Facebook and YouTube, but I have got the separate Twitter feed up so I can see that. And on that Twitter feed, Mike has already tweeted in, waiting to hear what the, in inverted commas, wise men say. And Michelle has suggested that she's heard a rumour it might not just be men tonight. And that brings us neatly on as we say hello for the first time on Fools Rush In to Claire. Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
How are you?
Very nervous. Very
There's
nervous.
no need to be nervous.
Feeling privileged to be asked.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say. There's absolutely no need to be nervous. We and everyone in the comments will be very nice all evening, as long as you decide to stay with us, that's for sure.
And definitely no reason to feel privileged.
Let's get straight on if we can. And the first topic, obviously, is that we won again. back-to-back wins for the men's team, and this time, for the first time, on the road. It's only customary to go to Rich first and say, how was it?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I was there on Saturday. Do you know what? It was a really good day out. Obviously, we had the sun as well, and I think really we played second half really, really well. First half felt as if it was going to be a boring 0-0 draw, but ended up actually being a really good, really positive win, and actually some really good performances out there. I think what was the main thing was that the fans are actually now back on Lindsay's side. It's funny that a tale of events can change within about 6 days. People wanting him out, but now people wanting him to stay in, and actually got a song for him now as well. So, that's always a massive positive. And I feel as if that his comments at the end as well were absolutely fantastic. But I just thought the way we played was fantastic. But Doncaster were pretty awful. I'll be really honest. But I thought a few players really stood out for me, really. I thought Baldry stood out. Thought Clayton, Hutton, Gladwin were also good players that stood out for me on Saturday as well. But I think the main thing for us was that I will give that team an applause for Saturday.
You be careful.
They are absolutely out there skin.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the lights don't turn off when I clap.
Claire, Rich actually made the point there at the end. Obviously, Lindsay, what a difference a week makes. And the videos were going around, and there were some really, really good videos, like Rich says, of him getting a chant. And that can only be positive that the mood is turning so quickly in his favour.
It speaks volumes about our fans, doesn't it? One win changes everything, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? From 1 minute they want him out, next we've got a full song about him. Do you know? But it's pleasing to see. Get behind him. I think the win has done him good and our fan base. Let's support them. Let's see where we go with it. Every game they've got better, haven't they? So, yeah, I'm all for the singing, but no jakey wakey sounds in there, please. No. It has to be Jake or Jacob. I don't want to hear that jakey wakey in any chance, in any shape or form whatsoever.
Agreed.
I know you were saying before coming on you were a little bit nervous, so I'm hoping this will put you at ease. Danny has tweeted in saying, yes, Claire, so happy to see you on there. You look beautiful. Michelle has also tweeted in, go Claire, hair is looking good, girl. So already getting the positive.
Nobody ever says that about our hair.
No.
What hair?
I spend a lot of money on
people won't even
mine.
notice that mine's flat today. Probably that's how much attention our looks normally get.
Hopefully nobody's commented about a matching Falls Rushing beard yet, though.
We'll let you get your feet under the table first, Claire. Then that'll be.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
Claire mentioned Wakelin, Woody. His importance to the team already can't be understated, can it?
Sorry, say again. I missed that.
I said Claire mentioned Wakelin. His importance to the team already cannot be understated.
Oh no, 100%. I think like we all know my thoughts on him not playing or not starting on Tuesday, but he did it again, didn't he? At the end of the day, and from memory, again, a goal that's come about from good positioning from him as well, and a good bit of play build up towards the goal. But yeah, I think now I'm losing my concern that I had for Lindsay, but I'm still not saying that he's going to be the right man. I'd probably only sing his name if we're winning type thing, because I'm a fickle fan like that, and like other fickle fans, we're all turn around against him when we're losing. But it's not as concerning. I said that we needed 9 points really out of those last 3 games. We've got 6 out of those 9. So in my eyes, it still probably isn't good enough. But if he can start going on and upwards now, then so be it. Fair play. But for me, I'm still concerned that when there's games that we should have won them, and I got a horrible feeling they could bite us. I'm positive that we have got a good squad. I know people will argue otherwise, but I do think we've got a good squad. I do think he could do the job. I do still think he's got the wrong backroom staff, in my opinion, in terms of his backup coaches. But it is what it is, and I know that people will say that he's got no experience, etc., etc. Richie Wellens didn't really have any experience. Paolo Di Canio didn't really have any experience. So let's give. Whilst he's winning, he's doing his job, in my opinion. Rich says by all accounts we played well on Saturday. I heard from another account that we didn't play that well, but we won the game and it was away. So and we've kept a clean sheet. And it was interesting. Rich said that Donny weren't very good. That's fair enough. But we're saying this a lot now with teams that we beat, that they're not very good. So can we start saying that we're just better teams now? Can we just start saying that we're the better team and we're better than we all thought we were? We drew a lot. I'm kind of, almost backtracking on how much I hated the fact we drew a lot. I still think it's still concerning. But win against Grimsby on Saturday, and I think, what is that, 4 and 5 against 4 wins and 5? 4 wins and 5 on the bar charts in terms of wins, losses and draws. We just need to get rid of that middle bar chart. Get rid of that middle bar. Let's start overtaking that with wins. And then he has my full support. At the end of the day, I just want to get us this league, and Wakeling's the type of player that's going to get us out of this league.
No, it's a perfectly good point you make there, because I got a message saying that sometimes on here I come across as negative, and I said it's strange when people say that to me, because I still think I'm one of the I'm not quite Ben level, but I'm borderline like the really positive fan generally. So the fact that I might come across as negative is a bit surprising to me. But the one of the messages I got was, I'm running out of things to complain about, and I'm like, no, it's almost if the stuff I've been saying, I might actually know what I'm talking about, because suddenly, you're right, the unbeaten run continues, but it's not constant draws. We're actually winning games, we're moving up the table, and everything's looking a bit more positive. So for me, that's the good thing. And you're right, if we can keep that momentum going, as you say, throughout the rest of this month and into October, going into that what's always perceived as the season-defining festive period, it'll only leave us in good shape. On that train of thought, then, can we go now, do you think, and build that momentum?
There's no reason why not. I think the team be brewing full of confidence. It's 3 wins in the last 5. You like to think that with the away win, with the clean sheet as well, it's a bit of a turning point. It seemed to be a bit of a turning point from Lindsay, where he actually got, first time this season, he got some vocal support from the fans. That would have meant the earth to him. That would have made so much. And the team would have hopefully just kick on from that, but we'll still find. Now, Grimsby are like us. They've only lost 1 this season. They'll probably quite fancy themselves as well going into this game, and there's a great opportunity to pull themselves further up the league. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a good game, but it's one we can do well in, and I hope we can take this momentum on. And it's great to see Wakeling starting to get that support that legends get, the sort of Doyle support, the sort of McCurdy support. It's good. We do well when we've got that vocal behind that one player that we can build up, and hopefully he can be that man.
One thing, and I'm going to kind of throw it over to Ned, but Rich, you might be in a position to tell us the injury to McDonald and Baldry coming on. Did that change things, do you think? Because some of the messages we got was it looked a lot more stable when that change was made.
Massively, I thought. Am I the one that's echoing?
It's 5 V's that's echoing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, massively. I felt as if the way that the game was started, you could still see some of the things that were happening in the Sutton game, whereas our defence wasn't on it wasn't basically communicating. There was no communication whatsoever. McDonald and Clayton were both out of positions. Nobody knew really where they were going. McDonald went off. Bowdry came on, and he actually had some stability at the back. And from there on, we didn't look like conceding. They had probably one of their best chances in the last couple of minutes of the game, when obviously we're only 1-0 up. Really, we wanted to be getting a second goal. But I was talking to somebody, I think it was actually Craig at the game yesterday, and basically we were saying that, it might have been Joe actually, that basically McDonald was brought in to play in a back three, but he's not a ball playing centre half, whereas Bowdry is and Clayton is. McDonald's more of a blocker. He whenever a ball's basically shot at, he'll go in and he'll save the day. Basically, he's not a ball playing centre half. He's not really a leader either. I thought Bowdry came in and he led the team. He led the team to victory. I think that, assuming Bowdry can stay fit, I think that could be our back four: Hutton, Bowdry, Clayton, and Blake Tracy, AJ Blake Tracy.
Well, particularly Hutton is a player that Claire and I have spoke about before, and I definitely believe there's a player in there. But Ned, throwing over to you then, with what you've sort of read about since the game, hearing Rich there, and your own personal thoughts on two players, would you like to see Bowdry reinstalled as a starting centre half?
Yeah, I mean, he did look very ropey at the start of the season, I got to be honest. But to be fair, he was alongside McDonald, wasn't he? So,
and playing in a back three as well.
Well, yeah, there's that as well. But I mean, I think maybe, I'm not sure what the problem is with McDonald, but there's something not quite right, is there? Something's not quite, it's not quite hitting the spot at the moment. I mean, you get flashes of brilliance from McDonald, but there is, he's not as Craig said, Conroy, he's taken over Conroy, isn't he? And Conroy was the ball playing defender, and McDonald is, as Rich said, he's your typical player like Bowdry. He'll stop the shots. But he's not the ball playing centre back that Conroy was. But he's doing a good job. But I mean, to be perfectly honest, the difference was significant when Bowdry come on to compare to when McDonald was playing. Maybe just give Bowdry a few more games, let McDonald have a few more benches, just to sort of get him up to speed on what we're expecting from him, possibly, because it's very different, the way that we play to how Rotherham play, and it's a difference. The teams that he's coming up against are very different as well. So the strikers are offering different things. So maybe that's possibly a bit of it there. I do have to say that Tyree Shade was very good. He's now one of my favourite players.
So I'm going to refrain from commenting here, because I think I know what Rich is going to say, and I'm hoping it's going to be along the lines of what I would say to that.
Ooh.
Go on.
No, go on, Rich.
I was going to say he was good in the second half. First half, he was still up to his usual tricks as to what he was playing at what he's played basically the whole season. Second half, though, he was the player that we've wanted. Yeah, I thought he was brilliant. But if he can keep that consistency up, then I think he will be a good player. And I said I think he's got the ability, but that's basically my view of it.
I know the masses will be screaming to #let Nick speak, and we will do in just a second. But we've had a few comments which have flashed up on the screen that are kind of tactically based or opinion based. But there's one here, Woody, that I'd like your opinion on, from Christian, about the comments about inexperienced managers.
I was going to say this.
Yeah, but I got one response to that, and I'm quite surprised if Rich says that, because the one name I'm going to chuck back at you is Jose Mourinho. Never kicked a professional football in his life, and arguably one of the best managers to ever to ever manage in English football. Alex Ferguson, yeah, he was at Rangers for just under 100 games, but he wasn't a fantastic footballer. Probably one of the best managers of all time.
To be fair, though, Mourinho, he did learn off probably one of the best managers ever.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
But Lindsay hasn't had that, so I know what you meant. Yeah.
But even if you flip the other way, sometimes having experience doesn't always work that way in terms of whether you played at a high level. Tim Sherwood played at a decent level. He wasn't a very good manager. Even at Spurs, he wasn't a very good manager.
You made Claire choke.
Yeah. So
that happens to Ben if you mention someone else as well.
Whilst I appreciate the kind of the comment, yeah, it's got a certain level of degree to it, but I'm not going to say that just because Scott Lindsay didn't play for at the highest standard doesn't mean he's going to be a bad coach or a bad manager. It's I just think that we can't scream when we're in League Two to say that we need somebody who's managed or coached at or played at the highest level. One, because we won't be able to afford it, and two, because it doesn't always work. So, sorry, that's my comment.
That's absolutely fine. It's all about opinions. Different people will look at the situation in different ways, and as we always say, opinions make football. It's why we all love it, and it's why we do things like this. It's so we can share those opinions. Nick, come on then, let us have your assessment of the situation. Good to finally win away from home this season?
Yeah, it certainly was. Desperately needed those points again, and it's got us on the right track. But I want to go off slightly on a different track, if you don't mind, and bear with me. And I'm glad that Shade's name's been called up a couple of times, and that some positive vibes on him. And I want to put it in context. The other week, Warren said that his mate chatted to him about how it's like being down the pub with your mates, and you talk football shit, and sometimes we can probably say things that might be a bit borderline. And talking about Shade.
No, when I've said he's shit, it's not been borderline.
Well, it's how we say it. When we talk about Shade, and I regret saying it because it was a second-hand comment. I've only seen him start a game once, and he played really well against Palace. And you can say, well, that was the kids, but they were big lads and they were streetwise. So it's borderline. Is that getting personal? Saying Shade is shit. It's okay to call a player out to say he's had a bad game. He can't cross the ball. He runs the ball out of play. He should do X, Y, Z better. I said that about Baudry after the Palace game. He was poor. He looked off the pace. Didn't have a very good game. Looked really leggy. So, we call players out and we all have different opinions on players. But what I'd say, any player that's got a pro contract, we need to give him a level of respect. And if you want to see how hard it is, look at the Crystal Palace Academy series. They've got something like 300 kids in there from under 8s up to under 18s. And they reckon if they get 3 to sign a professional contract, they've done well. So anyone who comes through and gets a professional contract deserves, a lot of praise, a lot of credit. So, and the other thing, and again, he's had a bit of stick recently, but that seems to be turning, is Lindsay. And I'll give him massive credit for persevering with Shade. He sees something in him. He sees him train every week. So what does a good manager, good coach do? He gives the guy a chance. He's gradually improving. He's getting better. The little clips I saw from Gillingham, he looked like to be the only one who was actually trying to get a shot on goal. Maybe they weren't the best shots in the world, but he was trying that. He scored against Sutton. Yeah, you can argue it was a crap goal, but if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery. He shot, he scored. And by all accounts, he played well at Donny. So the manager's got confidence in him. That gives the player confidence, and hopefully he will go on and get better and better. So it's just a case that let's be careful, what we say, criticise the player's performance, but do it like we do and do it in the right way. So I'll just finish by saying, show him a bit of love. That's my
fair play to you, Nick. Because honestly, yeah, I think that is one thing that coaches don't actually get enough credit on, is actually because players are only going to get better by playing football matches at the end of the day. And if you're not playing, you're not going to improve. And, you know, obviously on Saturday, we could see some kind of improvement in Shade, especially after half-time. Not sure what Lindsay said to him, but I think Doncaster were there for the taking anyway on Saturday. So maybe he had a word in his ear to say, have a go at them. Literally just try and get past them, because you've got the beatings of this player, you've got the pace to do it. Just show them your talent and show them what we've been basically practicing, you know. And like you say, you can obviously see some kind of improvement and stuff like that. So it's really good to see that he's actually, like you say, giving people a chance. And maybe we should probably be a bit more wary of that, because really I think we are very quick to jump to conclusions at the end of the day. And obviously we've all said that Lindsay's a coach. He hasn't actually got that manager aspect yet, but maybe in some cases it's not always a bad thing. So, and I think that's one of the perks that we can see, is that he is improving young players. And I think Shade hopefully can sort of start to
oh yeah, I mean, for me, whenever I've mentioned it, I've meant purely on levels of performance that I've seen personally, whether that be live at the game or through iFollow or whatever. It's no disrespect to him as a person or whatever, and I would love nothing more at the end of the season to say, do you know what, I was wrong. He's turned out to be player of the season, because it would show a great progression for him. Can I
just say as well, with what Nick said, I want to agree absolutely completely with everything Nick just said, but Adloy's still shit.
Ned, you just ruined it, man. What? I just want to make one more point on this, because I think it is important, and I think we just need to be careful we don't cross that line, and it sounds personal. Now, no, probably for Shade, I'd
like to think no one takes anything we say personally.
No, he's probably never heard of Fools Rushing podcast, and he probably wouldn't watch it anyway. So, you know, what we said he probably doesn't hear. But again, you know, say a player's give a poor performance, and we all do that, and we have different views on whether a player's played well or bad. But just be careful. You know, this pod has done fantastic stuff on mental health, and we support, you know, you've supported it. You've done a fantastic program on it. When I watched that, total respect to the guys that did it. And it's it's very easy to say something and not realizing the effect it can have. And I know the last thing anybody here wants is to cause that issue to a player. So, you know, to me, I thought about it a lot over the weekend, and it concerned me and it worried me on what was said, which is why I brought it up. You know, again, Ned, saying so and so is shit. Say he's a shit footballer, but him himself isn't. You know, he's not a shit person.
I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but he's still shit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Nick, you've got a heart of gold, mate. Honestly, and do you know what? And I think it's something that us fans, sometimes it can go over our heads a little bit, and we don't really take that into consideration, especially when obviously players are playing poorly and stuff like that. So it is really good to obviously get a more positive, more positive view on things.
Before we move on, there's just one thing I want to throw out there, and it can be to any of you, all of you, or possibly even none of you, and then we'll move swiftly on after I say it. We always use that phrase, don't fall in love with loan players. And I put in our WhatsApp group, and I mentioned it on Lower League Look, game by game, I'm becoming a big fan of Blake Tracy. Everyone was like, we've signed an emergency left back on loan. And game by game, he seems to be getting more and more instrumental in what's happening and his performances. He had a iffy debut, should we say, but since then, arguably one of our more consistent players.
AJ Blake Tracy, absolute lad.
AJ Blake Tracy. God.
What a player. What a player.
Blake Tracy.
Yeah, he's a good.
I actually I agree with you, 5p. Blake Tracy's one of the lone players we might actually lose because Hasselbank's gone, and whoever takes over Burton might want to have a look at him in January, because he's playing
Especially
that well.
where they are at the
He's yeah, especially where they are at the moment. I would fully expect him to get recalled because he's just a top player. We've got a couple of left backs anyway, so let's just enjoy him whilst he's here. I keep saying it, but it reminds me of McEverley so much.
Somebody else said that to me the other day.
I'm expecting to lose. Yeah, I'm expecting to lose him in January because we're
Is
Burton
he only
out and the
signed
new
on?
manager.
Is he only signed on to
playing
January anyway?
Scoring and assists.
Yes, I think so, Nick.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's move on then.
Yeah, I think we'll lose.
Let's move on then, and we'll talk about the women's team who also won this weekend. Woody, you were there. Rich, you were there. Claire, you were there as well. Let's start with you if I can, Claire. And thank you for sending in. And I know you tweeted most of them out, and you sent me some quality pics from the day as well. Talk us through the game, the atmosphere. How did you find the whole sort of setup at Foundation Park?
Yeah, it was a great couple of hours. I have to be honest. It was like, it was the first time I'd seen the ladies down at Foundation Park. I missed the first time, but it was so well organised and friendly when you got there. From the moment I walked in the gate, I somehow managed to position myself unknowingly right next to the Bournemouth supporters. That happened to be like the loudest ones ever in my ear. I was like, oh. And I moved in the second half and went down the other end. And would you believe me, luck, I had them either side of me as well. But the game itself, it was a cracking game to watch. It had everything. It had goals, penalties, red cards for the kit man. It was noisy fans either side. I really enjoyed it. I thought it is great advertisement for ladies football. I'd definitely be back.
It's great to hear when people can come away and say, I will definitely be back. It's great. We can't go on without mentioning the Kitman situation, Rich. Let's start there, shall we, before the more sensible conversation. I know you very much want to discuss this, and Joe is gutted to be missing it because he has a lot to say on this situation as well.
Yeah.
Just explain to anyone who wasn't there and hasn't seen the tweets what happened first.
So one of mine and Woody's good mates is actually the kitman for Swindon Town Women, and basically what actually happened, well, basically this was from because me and Woody were sat next to each other, and this was basically what we thought had happened. So basically there was 2 penalty decisions that were made in that second half, neither of which was a penalty. I mean, the first one was soft, but the second one was a freaking amazing challenge. And then I think the assistant manager KP got a bit saying like, oh, that's a friendly barge in it, ref, like sort of thing like that. The next minute we see the referee going over to the touchline and he pulls out his red card, and we're a bit like, what was, is he actually sent him off for that? The next minute we see Steve, the kit man, with his hand up, walking around the side of the pitch. Like, what has gone on here? He sent the kit man. And we weren't sure exactly what. We didn't even hear Steve. We were none the wiser as to what Steve had actually said. We didn't even know he had actually commented. We thought he had taken one for the team to keep the actual coaches on the touchline. Turns out that basically Steve, in his own words, basically referred to it as the referee as a cheat. We couldn't hear it, so I wondered. Don't know if the lino had a word with the ref or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it was absolutely. It was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen from a personal point of view at a football match. Honestly, we could not stop laughing, could we, Woody? No, I don't think all the fans could stop laughing. To be
No,
honest, with you.
no,
And
it
we
was-
did rib him afterwards as well.
It was quite funny, and he is in the chat. He's just posted Stephen Watts. We'll make sure that he's famous for it. I think one of the funniest things though was the walk around afterwards, because obviously as Foundation Park's closed off, he couldn't exactly walk down the tunnel, so he kind of had to walk around and then behind the goal. And I think he thought the first gate was locked, so he carried on walking and then had to backtrack and go back round to where he has come from. It was fun. I mean, obviously, I know he's apologised to the ref and all of that afterwards. Like we shouldn't really condone anything, really, but it was funny. It was never a penalty in a million years. In fact,
neither of which were.
I think neither of them were penalties, which kind of probably puts a bit of a shadow on the result, really, because, like I say, without those penalties, that's 3-0, and it's a deserved 3-0 as well. Annie Colston again, just. She's always been a very good player, but she really is on fire this year. It's fantastic to see, and fantastic to see the likes of Luke Jeffcott down as well.
Where I was stood in the second half. Where I was stood in the second half, of the Bournemouth supporters either side of me, they were really trying to influence that ref, really trying to influence his decisions. I don't know if it was like that at your end in the second half, but definitely where I was stood.
Couldn't really hear them, to be honest with you.
Really?
No, but we did.
Well, to be fair,
we did have
Woody's
my
son was
6-year-old
banging, banging on. Come on, Swindon.
It has to be said. So before the two penalties, Swindon were 3-0 up, and the two penalties allowed it to go back to 3-2, which is how it finished. Claire, a message I got from you afterwards, and you pretty much got a picture to show it as well, was just simply an absolute worldie save.
That will stick with me. That save, picture or no picture, that was unbelievable. That save, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Turning point of the game, much to the annoyance of the Bournemouth supporters stood next to me.
It certainly did sound a game with many talking points. But as you say, Woody, Annie's hat-trick, clearly a player, I think Craig used the word technically gifted, and you can see that with performances. But on the grander scheme of things, talk us through the importance of another win at Foundation Park.
Well, yeah, I think Mike, you showed it up on Twitter a minute ago, and I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I was very confident that we would beat Larkhall, so I thought that was a great game to put on at Foundation Park. I genuinely mean that from almost like a tactical point of view, that you kind of want to make sure it's a really good game, to put on. Bournemouth, I was a little bit nervous about. I said in the preview that they are a good side. In my general opinion, even though I think they will still be up there, I think that they aren't as strong as last season, in my opinion. But I think it just shows that get the players playing in the right atmosphere, and it just shows how much of a difference it can make. Fairford's a lovely place, don't get me wrong, and it's really nice to play up there as a proper football club. But even though there wasn't a huge amount of noise yesterday, just kind of that almost like enthusiastic, positive spirit coming from the crowd. Someone's just broke into Fifey's house. It's right. We'll carry on with the pod. We'll deal with that later.
I've got nothing here of any value, so they'll be breaking out again very quickly.
But yeah, it was. I know the numbers weren't as high as what they were for the Larkhall game, but there's reasons we think that might be as well. Obviously, Larkhall would have bought more probably than Bournemouth, I imagine, being only down the road. So, but no, it was. It is what we wanted. It's what we want from Foundation Park. We carry on getting figures between 170 to 220 each week. Even if we don't improve on that, we'll still be in the top 5 attendances for our level, for our tier, which is a shame when you think of what we know attendances could get to. But the more and more that we're appearing in that top 5, the more publicity we're getting, the more that it's pushing. And again, as I mentioned, the more hopefully that we'll be able to push over to the county ground. Which that will happen at one point at least this season. Obviously, the discussions are still going ahead as to when. But and that's exactly what it needs. At the end of the day, a good game like that. And I think I come home yesterday because I kind of got a hall pass to go watch the game, and I said, you know what, people will watch that and say that was a real game of football, because it had, as Claire said, it had a bit of everything. It had dodgy decisions, it had penalties, it had people getting angry at the refs, it had
the kit man being sent off.
The kit man being sent off, and as much as let's
just
I think
emphasize
you
it
enjoyed
enough,
that a
shall
little
we?
more than you should.
But as much as people might say, yeah, let's go watch the women's because it's a nice, positive family atmosphere, I don't think that necessarily means it has to be fluffy and everybody enjoy it. A football game that has a bit of everything will keep getting the crowds in. And like I say, when you've got Emily pulling off saves like that, she pulls off one of those every game, I'd say, to be honest. Rich has watched a lot of games. I think you've just flashed up Steve's message there. She's by far the best keeper in our league, and probably the league above, in my opinion, as well. But in terms of, for her age, she could still play for our under-18s. So the fact that she's so young and, is already being, looked at by England and things like that. So it's fabulous for her. But, like I said, they haven't brought in loads of different players over the summer, the first team. Did we need some? I think we did, but not necessarily just to improve quality, probably to improve depth. But what a fantastic job James is doing, and I'm going to sound like a brown nose now because obviously I'm one of the development managers, but he's turning something around there at the moment. Last season that was a 1-1 draw, and I can't remember what we did in the other game, but we're putting on performances now. We've put on 2 entertaining games. So even now we might have a couple of games at Fairford or a local away game. Hopefully that encourages people just to keep going, because the more support we get, the more they're going to get over the panel, over the line.
There definitely seems to be a better atmosphere as well in the group, obviously with the change of manager and obviously everything that's going on behind the scenes and the positive things that's obviously happening for the women's team as well. The fact that they've been able to have a couple of games at Foundation Park and everything like that as well. I was able to go to a couple of the training sessions during pre-season. And I could tell straight away, obviously the relationships obviously within all 3 teams, the under-18s, the development team, and obviously the first team as well. So it is obviously really good to see, and you could tell they're all really, really excited about the things to come for this team. It is an exciting project, and it is a project, and obviously it's really good now that obviously people are getting an interest, obviously given the win in the summer for the England Lionesses, and that can only bode well. And I think we all said it as well, the fact that they did win it. Obviously it should have happened ages ago. It shouldn't have had to been because the Lionesses won the Euros, but now the fact that it has got that extra push, I feel as if now the time is now, and I feel as if the attendances, I know Woody obviously wasn't exactly blown away by the attendance yesterday, but even still, that's still progress. It's still progress, and it will be continual progress, and it's only going to it will get bigger and bigger. And I think the more awareness we put out, exposure of it, I feel as if that the probably the men's team's main Twitter account probably could have put something a bit more into it yesterday. That's just a personal from my perspective, but yeah, it's really, really good to see, and I'm really excited for their future, and I know there's a lot of people really excited. I've spoken to a few girls in the team as well, and they're really, really excited, so it's good to see.
I'll be back.
I flashed up
I'll
a comment.
be back. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to coming back. When my son's not playing his match on Sunday, I'm definitely going to seek out the fixtures and try and get back. And it wasn't a case of because it's women's football, some of the football that was played yesterday, the passages of play were unreal. They're so intelligent, some of that passage of play. I can't praise that enough. And like that second half, those final 15 minutes, the teamwork that they pulled out to see them over that line hats off to them. Credit to them all.
And I think that's one thing that football fans probably sort of need to try and get their heads around is like, it shouldn't be a gender defining sport. It should be, because at the end of the day, like you said, Claire, it was a fantastic game of football yesterday, and any football fan would be impressed by the standard that was played yesterday, and the entertainment of it all was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, some of those passes were like a Gladwin or Reed would pick out. The vision of some of those passes, unreal, absolutely unreal they were.
And obviously we had Craig and Joe were also there, and Kieran as well was there, I believe. So there was a lot of positive messages in our WhatsApp chat about it afterwards as well, and I saw a lot of different people tweeting about it online. And as Rich said, it can only grow, and as bigger and better exposure becomes available, I'm sure that will certainly be the case. Let's move on then to tomorrow night. And Nick, you're heading back to the CG.
I am. Live football, yes. Obviously, I couldn't go Saturday. Can't go this Saturday, so I thought I need my football fix. So even though I don't give two monkeys about the competition, and yet the under-23s or under-21s or whatever they are from Premiership clubs shouldn't be playing in it. We all know that. But, I'm just glad to go to the game and see some live football. Looking forward to seeing some of the fringe players. Hopefully, Iandolo will be playing, and he's on his way back to fitness. Aguiar, he should get a game. So, again, he needs minutes on the pitch. Would be good if Roberts, again, started, see what he's like, because he's getting a lot of good feedback from Lindsay. Was certainly raving about him the other day. So yeah, all in all, not too bothered about the result. Just looking to see some good performances from the fringe players that will do us good for the squad.
And Ben, we mentioned earlier about building momentum, and it's having that fine balance now, isn't it? Because you don't want to change a winning side when they're only just winning, but equally we know that they will change it for this competition. One name that we spoke about off camera, suggestion that Hepburn Murphy might at least make the bench and feature for a small period of time.
Yeah, well, the presser today, Lindsay said that he'll get run out. He'll probably get about 30 minutes at the end, which is fantastic, which means he's probably slightly ahead to what everyone thought he was, because I didn't think we'd see him for another couple of weeks yet. So that's good. Good to see what he's about. Roberts as well is another one that's quite exciting. I think the team will overall be stronger than the one that took on the Palace side. It's disappointing that Jeffcott can't play. I think getting 90 minutes under his belt ahead of the weekend would have been quite a good thing. But yes, it's a good exercise. The result, it doesn't really matter that much, because it's one of those competitions. You're not really that bothered about whether you go through or you don't. I'd rather win, but if we don't, I'm not going to lose any sleep. But it's a good chance to get players out and get some minutes under the belt. I think Brannan could really do with some minutes as well. He's sort of disappeared off the face of a cliff at the minute. So yeah, I wish him all the best tomorrow. It'd be interesting to see the lineup and how they perform.
Yeah, there's between yourself and Nick there, you've mentioned quite a few of the players we're expecting to see. One thing that will be interesting, obviously there's no Williams at the weekend, so who plays is basically there to stake a claim for that weekend spot, isn't it, Ned?
Absolutely. And yeah, as it's mentioned already, I'm really excited to see Roberts play. I can't wait. I mean, there was a few people on Twitter saying, very excited about watching him play. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see. There's a good few players. To be fair, all the players have been mentioned. It's just a shame our man Kean Harris is unfortunately suspended, isn't he? Are we gonna now he's sponsored by us? Are we ever gonna see him play again? God only knows.
Well, as we've alluded in the past,
is he suspended though?
Yes, he is suspended.
I thought he. Is it only in that competition? Oh, okay. Because I wondered why he wasn't on the bench for the other couple of games, but still.
My understanding is because of how much squads get rotated, if you get sent off in the Papa Johns, it's only relative in the Papa John's. I'm sure someone will know better in the chat if that's not the case, or Woody will be frantically checking on the relevant websites to let us know. But yeah, I mean, some podcasts they sponsor players, they go and get hat tricks. Other podcasts sponsor players, they get concussion, then get sent off. It's just how it goes sometimes. Some sponsor coaches, they go and get tanked by, what was it, Woody, 9 the game after. It's just how it rolls sometimes. You can't help it. It's all part of the fun of football, isn't it?
We've not done well with sponsorships, have we?
We're still playing our part, and that's the important thing. Let's go round quickly and get some predictions for tomorrow then. Starting with let's go ladies first. Claire, predictions for score tomorrow, please.
I'm gonna go 1-0 loss, I'm afraid.
Oh dear. Would it?
Absolutely no reasoning behind it. I'm always wrong, so.
Hey, if you've watched enough of our episodes to know that we have like 7, 8, 9 people on at a time and we can never get a score right. Woody?
I'm going to assume Plymouth are going to have a similar rotation to us. So I'm going to go a 2-1 win, I think.
Nice.
I am concerned about who's going to go up front. But hopefully the new boys will get a run out.
Probably be that 16-year-old again, Cunny.
I forgot about him.
I think it will be a 1-1 draw, and I'm gonna say we're gonna win on penalties.
Nice, Ned.
I think the spirit's high in the camp at the moment. I think that will translate into a victory tomorrow. I think maybe 1-0 or 2-1.
Lovely, Nick.
So.
Rich just stole my score. I hate the score 1-1, but I'm going to go 1-1 penalties just to drag the evening out even more in a crap competition.
Ben?
Complete stab in the dark because I have no idea how serious Plymouth take this competition or what sort of team they'll have. So I am going to go inexperienced goalkeeper, lack of firepower, 2-1 defeat.
And I'm going to say a 2-0 win for Swindon as my prediction. I did just flash up that we're heading towards the conclusion, and we have been sent in a game, as I alluded to in the intro. But before I do, there is a topic that we were asked to discuss, and I was meant to bring it up earlier. I'll throw it open to any of you who want to talk about it. I'm sure you've all seen it. There was a tweet that went out before the game on Saturday about someone being basically someone seeing club representatives, let's say, out the night before a game, and basically it was an absolute piss take of a tweet. And as far as I could gather, it was just a couple of staff members out celebrating a birthday.
Yeah,
I don't know if any of you saw it, have any thoughts on it, but I was asked that the actual message I had was, can you ask the panel their thoughts on the staff members being called out for going out for a couple of drinks the night before a game?
Yeah, I
fan taking a position on our kitmen.
Yeah,
that's right.
What is it about kitmen? Kitmen are the new famous footballers, obviously.
Yeah, but one of them's like it was the sports scientist. One of them's massive. It's like they're clearly not footballers. Don't know what about. There you go.
Go on, Rich. What were you going to say on that?
Ben said exactly what I was going to say.
Anyone else want to? Go on,
the picture that was actually tweeted was making a lot of assumptions that they were even going for a drink. If you'd have put team was seen walking down the road when it was slightly dark, would have fitted. How did they know they were going for a drink? Did they stalk them? Did they follow them? Do you know what I mean? It didn't exactly show them with a drink in their hand or anything. You know, I think it was done with the intention of stirring things up a lot.
By the way, can I just
What's
say that tweet was deleted as well, by the way.
Was it? Wow.
I mean, how is the kit man supposed to do his job professionally the following day if he's had a few drinks in his belly the previous evening?
Ned, I'm going to climb up to that box in a minute and I'm going to sort you out. You need to get in that doghouse that Ben's not long come out of.
Yeah. I mean, if he was still drinking at 5 a.m. and he was supposed to be in there for 6, then okay, questions maybe aren't asked. But come on.
Do you know what? We got 3 points after that, so they can go out again this week if they like. Do you know what I mean? I'm all for that.
I think we should traditional the kit man on the lash the day before.
I'm hoping there's another birthday in that team.
That's Jonah.
Let's move on then to our concluding game that we were sent in, and it is based off of one of the games that we played on our Ask Us Anything episode, but it's been given a Swindon Town twist. This isn't specific to this season, but you've got a player that you wish we'd kept and not sold, a player you wish we'd had that we never did, and a player that you wish we got rid of sooner, to kind of make keep, buy, sell. I hope that makes sense. And ideally, if we can, no one can repeat a player in the same category.
Oh, Jesus.
Where possible.
Do we have a time scale? Because obviously I can pick someone from 30 years ago. Nick can pick someone from 50 years ago.
Jesus Christ. Easy, Ben.
Jesus.
That is true as well.
All right. I'm trying to stick up you here.
Nick can pick the Don.
So obviously I haven't prompted you with this in advance, so you've had no time to prep. So just off instant reaction to the question, do you want to attack it? One of you do all three at a time, or do you want to all go through like a player we've never had and then a player you wish we'd kept? How do you want to attack this?
Either way, Fifey, just do what you did like last week. So player that you didn't want to sell.
Right, Ben's got his hand up. He wants to go first.
Yeah, go for it.
No. I was just doing. I wasn't. I was doing.
No, you put your hand up now, Ben. You're first.
That was my nomination.
It's a bit like when someone says step forward, no one does, but everyone else steps back. You're going first.
Yeah, that's pretty much what just happened. Right. Okay. Wish a player that we wish we never sold. Jan Argafjortoft. I think if he stayed at Swindon that season, we'd have stayed up. And we wouldn't have ended the club that we are today, because obviously that affected us getting relegated twice 2 seasons running financially. It just put on a different path. So yeah, Steve McMahon not fallen out with Jan Fjortoft and kept him. That'd been nice.
Who's a player you wish we'd signed and never did?
Oh, we're doing all three. Right. Oh gosh. Right. Okay.
A player that wish we signed but never did. Alan Shearer.
I mean, fine.
Yeah, I wish we signed Alan Shearer in his pomp. That'd been good, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, there's obviously quite a few down the line, but I can't think of many off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of someone that we nearly signed but didn't. Remember Roy Wegley we nearly signed back in the day, and he was class winger as well, Roy Wegley. Going back a few years as well. I think we were connected with him for a while. But yeah, I'd say Alan Shearer. We never did.
And someone you think stayed longer than perhaps they should have done?
Ooh. Someone who overstayed their welcome a little bit. Jason Drysdale. He stayed more than one game.
Yes.
He was the worst player that I've ever seen play for Swindon.
Okay, I am going to randomly select to go next. Woody.
Fuck's sake. I don't like games like this. I'm going to go a bit more recent because I can't be bothered to rack my brains on the history of Swindon Town and wishing about the good times. A player, when we say keep, can we say loan players that we wish we had kept, or would they fall into the buy?
That would class as a keep.
Or would they fall into the buy category?
Loan, Jerry. Yeah.
I'll leave that open to your interpretation, Woody.
Bollocks. Okay, so I wish we had bought Jerry Yates. I wish we had gone with the money for him. I wish we would have kept Scott Twine. I'm just going recent, by the way. I wish we had kept Scott Twine. And who would I have sold who would have outstayed their welcome? Lancashire. Oliver Lancashire played way too many games.
Look at Rich's face.
He did play way too many games on Lancashire. He was awful.
Okay, next up on Fifey's random picker, I'm going to go with Claire.
Oh, okay. It seems Woody stole my Jerry Yates. Oh, I'm going to go with, I wish we'd never sold Matt Ritchie.
Great shout.
Yeah.
I wish we had have signed Finn Azaz. Is it? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yes, another good
Yeah.
shout.
And-
A player Rich is a big fan of.
And outstayed their welcome. Ooh, I've got two for this. They're both a dead cert.
Well, saying both then, it's fine. They'll probably never listen to it. You'll probably
Brett
never meet
Pittman.
them.
Brett Pittman, Taylor Cohen.
Brett.
Oh,
Good
shout.
shout.
Good shout.
Good shout.
And that is how to make an impact on your debut. Just throw out Brett Pittman and Taylor Curran.
Brett Pittman. Brett.
Let's go Ned next.
Oh, right. So there's only one answer for a player that we should have kept, and this is the player that we would be still in the Premier League now if we
Don't
had
you
him.
say it.
Duncan Shearer.
Bloody hell.
Sorry, mate.
God, fucking another one off. Bastard.
Nick, just say the Don. You'll be fine.
Yeah, as the passion shown by Nick there. Duncan Shearer is my favourite ever player, and Blackburn only bought him to prevent us from going up, so we should never have sold him. Players that we should have signed, there was two. Obviously, Theo Walcott, because he's a local lad. We should have signed up Theo Walcott. And I wanted to put down that bloke, played for Warsaw. I think he was Turkish or something, or some. He was that midfielder. Everyone, he scored.
Zabu?
No, he scored 2 goals against us, and they were both unbelievable. I think he went at Bristol Rovers. Oh yeah, Oztuma.
That's it, Oztuma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
we should
sorry.
have
Okay,
got him.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another player. And then I couldn't decide for the final one. It's between 2 players. And,
Go on, name them both. Claire did.
Okay. Sorry, Gypsy. 85 Ash should never have come back for a second spell. He was bad enough on the first, but he should never have come back for a second spell. And it was either him or Adeloy after the first game.
Of course, Adeloy. Poor bloke's had like an hour of fucking throwing him under the bus.
I want Adeloy to kick on and do brilliantly.
Claire wants Adeloy to get 10 goals.
Kick on and do brilliantly, but he's just not going to do it because he's awful.
Fuck it, I can't wait. I cannot wait for him to get into the team and prove.
Look, mine and your match bet, Fifey, I'm definitely going to win. And you know I'm going to win.
Well, I still think, despite the fact my player isn't playing, we're still dead level because I don't believe yours has got an assist yet, has he?
I don't think he's got an assist, but
no.
He's definitely going to get more assists than.
I doubt it. I very much doubt it. Let's go. Where do we want to go next? Let's go, Nick.
Right, 2 of my players have already gone. So that's really good. My banker was Duncan Shearer because I 100% agree with what Ned said, 100%. So I'll go that far back because it is boring, and I'm sorry about it, but I've got to go Sudan, best player we've ever had by a mile. If you want sort of more modern day players, I'd say somebody like Nicky Summerby, who was class. It did well for us. Players I'd have liked to sign permanently. Jack Stevens, thought was superb
Great
centre half, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And one who
Absolutely.
stayed with us too long was his mate Jordan Turnbull. He was a rubbish player.
Yeah.
The only reason he looked decent was because he
I don't
played
agree with
alongside
that.
Stevens.
Rich is not having that at all.
Nah.
He was a terrible player, Rich. Stevens got him out of the
He
shit
wasn't.
so many times. Simple
He
as.
was worse when he left us, but yeah.
Just for the record, Nick is not being personal. He generally thinks that he's a terrible player.
He's a nice person, but he's a terrible player. He's a very nice man.
Go on, Rich. You've waited long enough for your picks.
I would have kept Charlie Austin.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Parkin hasn't been named in that category yet as well.
That's because Craig's not on.
I would have liked to have bought Mark Travers. Not under the Sheridan era, though. And player that overstayed their welcome, Jermaine McGlashan.
Nice.
Flashing. Random footballer.
For me, see, I had Matt Ritchie down as the player I wish we'd kept.
Yeah.
So I'll say Sam Parkin as the player I wish we'd kept. A player. So I'm going to go for a player that was never on loan at us, and there was two that I had in mind for buy. I think I've said it before when we've kind of had these style of questions. I was always a big fan of Dean Cox, the attacking midfielder at Leyton Orient.
Yeah, I like
and I know some people aren't going to like this because of who he ended up playing for, but I would have loved Lee Trundle to come into a Swindon shirt at some point. Would have absolutely loved Lee Trundle post Swansea, before Bristol City. If Lee Trundle had gone to Swindon, it would have been epic. Player to outstay their welcome. I was trying to rack my brains as to who this would be without it sounding harsh. And I was thinking maybe, was it Kamosi, the centre back under the Paolo era, who got sent off and then fucking...
What a player!
He was useless.
So I thought of him, and then I thought about the young goalkeeper that came in at the same time and never played and then disappeared.
Lozano. He was
so one of those two maybe for me.
Before McGlashan came into my head, Lozano was there for me.
Thank you to everyone who's been sending them in the chats as well. We got a couple more. I've been trying to flash them all up on the screen. What else have we got?
Toby, you cannot say that. We sponsor him.
Oh, yeah, Harry.
No.
He was doing so well until the Cell player.
I think he's referring to Ella Harries, who plays for the Swindon Women's. Yeah, he must be, which I'm not particularly happy with either, by the way, Toby.
Hashtag naughty Toby. Paddy's tweeted in as well. Players who outstayed their welcome ? Those goal machines De Sevi and Sabin. Lol. And then thanks us in advance. Good show and a good panel too. Where are we? 1 hour and 10. Do you want to answer one more question before we finish, or do you want to finish it there? It's entirely up to you. We've had one tweeted in. If you've got places to be tonight, I'm happy to end it. No, good. Danny has just tweeted in.
One more. I'm happy with one more.
Danny has just tweeted in. Dinner guest, past or present, who would you have round your table, you and 3 other players? So let's go in the order you appear on my screen. So Ben, 3 players that you can have for dinner, past or present.
Simon Ferry.
Already a quality dinner
Paolo
party.
Canio. Yeah. Simon Ferry, Paolo Canio, because I just think that'd be amazing. And who should I have the third one? Who is an absolute nutcase? I don't know.
Who was an
Pele
absolute
as well,
nutcase, did you just say?
No, he's not a nutcase. Pele wasn't a nutcase. Actually, Jerry Yates is a good lad. He's a bit of a nutter and a bit of livewire. No, not Pele. Jerry Yates. He's a good
Okay.
lad.
Nick, you can have 3 players, past or present, round for dinner. Who are you having?
Charlie Austin, Lee Peacock, and who else would be good? You said Simon Ferry. I think. Oh shit! His name's gone from me. Who was their Scottish right back?
Paul Caddis.
Caddis.
Oh, weak cads.
Weak cads, because he would just be funny because you can't understand what he fucking says.
Let's go to Ned next.
Oh, so are we
Kick
allowed
my
to
door
say
in.
ones that have already been said?
If you have to, yes. I will
Okay.
allow it for this one.
Perfect. So I would definitely go. This is set in stone, by the way. This is if someone can arrange this.
Wait, before you do, Ned, just take a minute to enjoy what a dinner party this would be.
Ranger.
Oh God!
My word.
Oh God!
I was gonna say Razor as well.
Absolute
Sorry,
God.
That's a winner. That's a winner.
Brilliant.
And just on the previous one, Rob has tweeted in to say his controversial player to keep would have been Tommy Mooney. Carry on, Ned. Your 3 players.
Simon Ferry,
Yeah.
Glenn Hoddle, and Chris Kamara. That is the ultimate 3 for me.
Okay, lovely. Rich?
Yeah, it's good free.
Razor Ruddock, Simon Ferry, and who else? McCurdy.
Okay. Woody?
I would have said Razor as well. He was the first name that popped into my head. I reckon it'd be a right laugh. Razor, Super Sam, and Mr. Don, of course.
What about
Lovely.
Lee Peacock?
He's so yesterday's news since Ned got a picture with him.
Twine.
Claire?
I'm definitely picking Lee Peacock. See, I'm trying to think of someone that you haven't already chose. You pinched mine early on. Oh gosh.
No pressure, Claire. No pressure.
Leon Clark.
No. Right, we go. Matty Baldry. And I've got to have McCurdy in there.
Okay, nice. I will go. I'll go Miglioranzi, Zaboo, and Christian Roberts. I have no idea how that would work, but it would be a laugh, I am sure. And this is almost the perfect way to end the dinner party chat as well. We will be back on Friday with another episode to preview the weekend's fixture. We'll also look back at tomorrow night's game. But gents, thank you very much. Claire, final word from you. Obviously, debut, congratulations. I thought you did very well. Had loads of great comments on Twitter and in the chat. How did you find it for anyone else who might consider venturing on at some point in the future?
Yeah, come on to it. I was nervous, but you've all made me feel so welcome, I think. No, honestly, the guys look after you. They're great. Come on and do it.
Well, you are welcome back anytime, of course. It was a fantastic debut. Listen, Nick, enjoy the football tomorrow. Rich is going as well. Enjoy the football tomorrow, pal. For the rest of you, thank you very much for your time. Thank you again, Claire, for coming on. Until next time, from Fools Rush In, I'd like to wish you a very good night and goodbye.
Take take my whole life too, but I can't help falling